So this is the Good Ride review, follow-up review of the LibTech Orca. Oh, nice. Some freestyle moves. I rode it with my trusty Adidas Tactical ADVs, Union Atlas, and of course, Union T-Rise Falcors. Compared it against some favorites. I liked it much better, and so did Grant, who had to bail, but than we did at the demos. The demos, it was untuned. This is, you know, out of the factory correct, and it's just a short, fat, super set back, kind of surfy, but still, just like the other T-Rise boards, very straight liney, very powerful. One of the most powerful hybrid rocker boards I've ever tried. And it's not one for somebody who likes that ultra super turny ride like the Optimistic. It's the exact opposite of the spectrum of that. So let's get into this. We got flex. It's kind of a medium stiff flex. It's a very aggressive flex. I love the look of this. I mean, who doesn't fucking love an Orca? I mean, Orcas are cool. They're smart, they're athletic, they're the champion, they're like the lion of the sea. Nobody touches them, but they hunt in packs like wolves. They're fucking cool, but that's a whole other story. But I love looking at Orcas, and you know, and I love the board's look. And although this board wasn't really my type, I'm not a straight liney kind of super powerful, you know, short fat. I don't want a short fat surfy board kind of like this. This is more just short and fat. It's very directional, but it really felt like, if we're gonna talk surf, it felt like an old school quad fin. It just, you know, it doesn't really like going surfing in the pocket, going up and down. It likes dropping in, bottom turning, and just gunning down that line and then throwing this long drawn out turn back into the wave, you know, getting barreled. That's what this felt like to me. It felt like a quad fin if we're gonna talk surf, like even an old school quad, because the new ones are pretty amazing. So that's kind of like the board's overall personality. And this, you know, like the demo model we had and this production model we had didn't have a lot of rocker in the middle, and it felt more stable. One of my friends was even like, Mason at Gravity Sports here was like, that almost felt like C3. And I kind of feel that way too. It's a little loose, and in harder snow it can be a little loose underfoot, but it's still, once it's on edge, you just feel the power of this board. It's one of the most powerful hybrid rocker boards I've ever tried. It's right there with all the other T-Rise boards. It feels like they took the 164, tweaked it into just a shorter, fatter, meaner ride. And while it's not for me, I could see how some of you would love it and would really enjoy this kind of straight liney approach to the short, fat, surfy thing. It still feels like, even though it's hybrid rocker and it's kind of forgiving, it still feels like it's going to be much better with advanced to expert riders as opposed to beginner intermediates for sure. You better be a strong intermediate if you're considering this. The edge hold is phenomenal. It's like full mag. It's modified full mag. It's not like the original Magnet Traction from years past. That thing was just, that was so grippy it wouldn't even let go. But this is a great board for people who see hard snow. And then the turn initiation is slow. I would say it's medium slow. I would not say it's medium. I'd say it's, yeah, like semi-slow, kind of medium slow. and bordering on kind of almost slow, and it really likes a powerful boot. Like luckily I have the tactical ADVs, which are kind of more medium fast in terms of response. The Atlas, and of course the Falkor, it really likes that that more aggressive tourney ride, and it really didn't compare well with any of these boards, these other short fat surfies, because it just was so different and so unique. It felt more back on board, it felt more straight liney. This feels like playful, more double ender like, more buttery, more playful, but it still can hold a carve and has good edge hold. This feels stiffer than this, actually, more aggressive than this, more poppy, more unforgiving and uneven terrain than this was. This doesn't feel great going through bumps or uneven snow. And that felt like the super tourney board, the Yes Optimistic, the United Shapes Orbit, and the Solomon 6-stick. Sorry, I forgot to mention them. The United Shapes Orbit and Yes Optimistic out-carved this. These two are pretty close, but this carves super well for a hybrid rocker, and especially with just like having that binding over that camber bump right there, it had some nice spring out of the turn that surprised me. Sometimes hybrid rocker can let you down in a carve, but the turning initiation is slow, but the experience, the turning experience and the carving is fun, as long as you don't want to circle carve. It's more back and forth. You know, in the turns you want to do these just long, drawn out, super fun S-turns. That's like what makes, you know, when you're riding this Orca, basically it's taking you for a ride sometimes if you're not careful. But you know, it's fun to carve, it's fun to turn. It's just a different kind of turning than all these boards. These can engage in different types of radius. This just kind of likes more of the wider, you know, the wider stuff. So speed, this thing bombs for hybrid rocker. It's very stable, you know, and it's got a good glide to it. Even this base right out of the factory, not waxed, really kept its speed well. It's a well-made board. Uneven terrain, I just hated this in moguls. I didn't like it at all. It just felt like it drained my battery. I was feeling good until I just said, look, I gotta do this. I gotta do this for you, good readers. And I just took it down a long mogul line, like a quarter mile. And by the end, I just felt my battery go like this. I'm just like, oh, I need some food. And I don't know if I can finish the day. Then, you know, a little water, a little stuff, I'm back, but it's a lot of board to negotiate through bumps, and it likes a little bit bigger foot than my size 9 to turn it more proficiently. So, but it can hammer over shit. This can power over uneven snow if you just want to, you know, do your impersonation of Travis Rice. You can power over shit. Switch wasn't terrible. It's got kind of like a popped up, a kinked tail. So it was doable, but you're definitely really set back, so it feels really lopsided. Powder, no powder, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it in the time that I have this. But I'm probably going to give it to a friend, and I'm hoping to see it in powder, but it seems like it would float really well. And check the On the Table review, and I'll talk more about that with the you know, with the setback on board versus side cut and all that shit. I wouldn't want to ride this anywhere in the park. I just want to stay out of all of it. But maybe if you're, you know, bigger footed and you like this kind of ride, maybe it might be fun on the pipe. Maybe it might be fun hitting some kickers and throwing some methods, but I wouldn't want to jib on it at all. And overall, I think it's a much more fun board than my initial impression, and I actually had a good time on it today, and I love just picking up those kind of like driving turns, and just love the speed that this could provide for hybrid rocker. It's a real bomber, and you know, it's right there with Travis's boards. They're not for everybody, but if you're a really good, really aggressive, strong rider, but wants something a little more forgiving than your average, like super aggressive full camber board or mostly camber board, this might do a lot for you. for your short fat surfy board. And you could use this as a daily driver from anything from ice to powder, as long as the powder isn't too wet and sticky, because sometimes magnet traction can be difficult there. So there you have it.